Hey, welcome to BSB TV. Today, I'm really excited. I got Ron. I've got a mental blank. Ron, what's your surname? Barton. Ron from World Options. I actually know Ron really well, and why I've had a blank there, I've got no idea. World Options. What do you do?
Well, mate, I basically think if you think of us as the Webjet of the courier industry, you've got us nailed in one. So Webjet, you look for a holiday place, you book it, and you have a choice of people. With us, you get onto our portal, and you want to send a parcel, you want to send it to location down in Melbourne somewhere, and you live here in Brisbane, and you pick those two suburbs, put the suburb postcodes in and your dimensions, and it'll quote you from a number of our suppliers that are on the portal.
Yeah, so you can get really cheap or really expensive. You get to pick which one. So I can send from my house to others. Can I send from others' houses to mine?
Yes, you can. Yes, there's no limitation. So basically, you might have a supplier in Melbourne, and you want to take control of your shipping. So you do the booking as if you're doing it from your place, but instead you do the start down there, and you send them the waybill. And
cool. What we need to do is we need to get onto our 5 problems, because we only have 5 minutes and we're a minute and a half into it. And as much as I'm enjoying this, we really got to talk about these problems. Hey.
Yeah. Look. Yeah. There's a myriad of problems in the shipping industry. And,
there's heaps.
Yeah, and what I thought was best to sort of start talking today about those ones that are actually in your control. Things that are outside your control, you've got no say in it. So if we can just concentrate on some things that are inside your control, and you know.
Cool. So what's the first one, Ron?
Well, first and foremost, you've got to have the stock in stock. You can't be waiting on stuff to arrive, because people like to be able to buy and get delivered. So
and when people buy, they want it now.
That's correct. So that's the thought process behind all this, and make sure that your products are ready to be shipped. So I think if you have those two as a premise.
I got a small confession here. Sometimes, like I use Ron's system, I ship dog beds all over the place, and every now and again, Ron's system goes, "Hey, is it ready to go now?" And I go, "Sure." And so it books it to get picked up in like 2 minutes, and I'm busy printing out things. I'm putting myself under stress, not actually thinking that, hey, it's actually got to go to the depot, and then the guy's got to get notified, and he's probably not really standing at my front gate waiting for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's a user error issue there, not a Ron system error.
That's correct. So I guess the first one is delays in dispatching. So aim to ship on the same day that you take the order. Again, taking into consideration that the courier is not going to be outside your door, but aim to ship on that day, and that way you will lessen the likelihood of a missed pickup that day, and you have to wait for the next day. Ensure that you have plenty of packaging supplies ready if you've got bespoke products that you want to gather and put together in one box and send away. And
so delays. That's problem 1. What's problem number 2?
Problem number 2 is breakages and damages. Let's face it, everything can, if it's going to go wrong, it'll be in a damage or a broken section. So it's it's your responsibility to make sure your packaging is correct. So most of the damages and breakages are caused because of poor packaging, and ensure that you have strong boxes, corrugated boxes, plenty of styrofoam packaging, and plenty of space between your product and the outer wall of your carriage box. And then make sure that you use plenty of bubble wrap or things like that around your products to cushion their supply, because let's face it, between pickup and delivery, your product would go through 20 odd hands by the time
and several conveyor belts along the way too. Now, whose fault is it if it does break?
it depends on your packaging. We have insurance to $1,000, so we'll cover that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to make sure that your package is properly packaged. We will argue with the.
Everyone, you need to come back in screen. Go that way. That's it.
We will argue your case to the carrier, but providing you can provide us evidence that it was packaged properly.
Packaged okay, great. So, and that's a big difference between you and some of the automated online guys. That hey, if something does go wrong, you can always pick up the phone and call Ron. I have done that because once again, user error created some issues. I'm really dumb when I first start stuff, but I get there eventually. Point number 3
is avoiding extra charges. So I think the first thing that you've got to make sure you do is correctly measure and correctly weigh your packages. Now, I maintain that if you have standardized packaging, you can correctly measure and correctly weigh your product, take a photograph of its measurements and take a photograph of it on the scales, and keep that in perpetuity, because you've already got that and it's a standardized product. It'll always go into those packages. If you have
and that's something I love about your system, is that it is like we sell 4 different type dog beds, and they're all just standard in there. We've set them up, and so it's, hey, I want a quote, bang, 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 quote comes out, awesome, ship, gone.
Exactly.
It knows exactly what we're doing. Point number 4
is correct addressing. And you might think this is a little bit strange, but as you know, Kevin, you've had a slight issue with this. But
I'm laughing because, can I tell them my story?
Yeah.
So basically, you would think that when people buy a product off you, they put the correct address in, right? It sounds pretty obvious, except we had one person down in Melbourne who didn't really like their suburb name and they wanted to live in the suburb next door. So they just decided that they'd put that with their suburb postcode. And of course, automated courier systems don't like so much people pretending that they live in a different suburb. So it wasn't coming up, and I'm tearing my hair out. And Ron said, well, Kevin, it's quite simple. That's not the postcode for that suburb. And so I had to reach out to the client, and they went, oh, yeah, no. Well, that's the right suburb there, Kevin. Yeah, use that one.
Yeah. And sometimes if you do happen to just let it go through, or it does accept it and it's an incorrect address, then you can also be subjected to additional charges. So I think if you set out at the start to make sure your addressing is correct, then you won't get those additional charges.
Or delays at very least. And that's where your system would let me do that. So it saved all that user error, which was fantastic. Point number 5
is communication. Like we all sort of talk about it, and we all sort of, it just rolls off our tongue. But no, it is a very important part of that. The whole shipping process is communicate with your client, understand that they'll be home, understand that will they accept an authority to leave? Have they got a safe place to leave it? We've had posts on the website before about leaving packages on your doorstep, etc., etc. So just to understand what your client is expecting, and then market accordingly with the shipper. It may cost you more for a authority to leave with some shippers, others it doesn't, but just know that up front. And give them an expected date of delivery. Or when I say expected in this COVID-19 world, that can expand out. We give expected dates on our website, but unfortunately in this time it does spread out a little bit. But
and very soon we're going to have to get ready to be shipping for Christmas, because there can be extra delays. There's going to be extra volume going through the system, all that sort of stuff. So you've got to be wary about that, depending on whether borders are open and closed, and that can cause delays and everything else. So hey, there's so many different challenges around this whole freight thing. The thing I love about your system, it doesn't force you into a preferred courier. Like my stuff gets sent to everyone or by everyone from different times. It gives me the option to choose the cheapest. I do come from a Scottish heritage and therefore do like to choose that. You know, and so as long as it's going to be there in a reasonable time frame, and it tells me all of that automatically. So, you know, it quotes easily. It does all the stuff that you're looking for. So the best part has been that if I do have any challenges, you're always just a quick phone call away and seemingly happy. You've never sworn at me yet. You may have after you've hung up, but you've hit it well. Thank you.
Yeah. No, look, we work with all the major carriers, so there's no problem there. And as I say to people, I think I might have said this to you, I'm available almost 24 hours a day, but not quite, but yeah, within reason. And obviously freight gets moved all over the world, and we all work in different time zones. So, you know, that's why I say that. But, you know, I'm quite happy to help out wherever I can. That's my job. It's my business. I'm a small business owner like everybody else. You know, I own the franchise here in Brisbane, and I'm here to make sure that your package gets from your place to wherever they've got to go to. So,
Ron, I want to thank you for all the help that you have been to me because as I said, I'm a bit of a slow learner when I get new stuff, and you've been very patient along those lines. You've held my hand as I've learnt your system, which is great. And so it's been an absolutely wonderful experience working with you. So thank you very much for that.
No, not a problem, not a problem. So you know, it's easy to use, and you know, hopefully it's easy to get your product out.
Absolutely. Look, we failed miserably in our 5 in 5, but we did do 5 within 12. So thanks very much, Ron.
All right. No, not a problem. Thanks very much, Kevin, for the opportunity. Much appreciated.